Welcome to the From White Collar to Blue Collar podcast. This is your host, Phil, with another episode. So, it's been 10 years since I left my office job full time, actually, about 10 and a half years now, and I quit 100%, left, and went off into the trades. And I want to talk about what are some of the things that I really like about this decision, being that it's 10 years on. So I'm a seasoned veteran at this point. So there's a lot of great things I think that this decision has done for me. And maybe my information will help some of you out who are wondering if you should do it, or thinking about it, or about to do it. So one major thing is that I think it taught me really to use common sense and to think. I went through the normal American education system, and I always felt like, and what I mean by that is elementary school, middle school, high school, and 4 years of college. And I never really had much confidence in the STEM subjects. I didn't really see myself as good at sports. I believe that I lacked common sense. I was afraid of those subjects. I was afraid of sports. And often when you're like that, there's a lot of people who are only happy to make you reinforce those insecure feelings that you have, and to make you feel like you're just born that way, that you're not good at it. And that went on way through university, and I played it safe really throughout school, in that I focused on keeping my average up by choosing to excel in subjects that more required memorization, that didn't require either right or wrong answer. This being social studies, as we called it in New York, but history, in other words, English, and foreign language, and maybe art, and electives like that, where if you just took the time to memorize things, you could probably do pretty well. And if you could write halfway decently, you could do well, and that would tip the scale in terms of if you weren't that good in the STEM subjects. So I went through a lot of my life just feeling that I wasn't good at these things in STEM subjects. And then when it came to sports, I had trouble focusing and learning rules of games. I remember like playing baseball and just not understanding the rules. And then they put you in, let's say, right field, and there's not a lot of action there, so you zone out. And then when finally the ball comes near you, then you're not paying attention, you don't know what to do, and everybody's yelling at you, and it just reinforces those feelings. And kids can be like that, where they will just reinforce those feelings, and teachers and adults can also be like that. So I felt this way for a long time, and then even in the workforce, I carried these feelings into it, where I just didn't, I shied away from certain roles or taking on tasks. And to be honest, like I didn't focus well. I'd zone out, I'd daydream, and that's also part of the reason. I don't want to just say that it was other people who caused me to feel that way. I also just had a habit of zoning out, and then I'd think to myself, well, this is just the person I am. I'm just a daydreamer. I don't focus. I don't listen. I don't pay attention. I don't follow directions well. And this was a major fear going into the trades, because in some ways, if you don't focus, if you don't pay attention, you can get hurt. You can get really hurt. You can hurt somebody else. You're dealing with tools, with heavy items, and you just can't zone out when you feel like it. And you also cannot just stop working if you feel a little tired. So I'm being thrown out there in this workforce, and the thing was that now I didn't have a choice, because I'm working with other people, and they need my help carrying some heavy piece of furniture or some kind of tool. They need to transport it. We need to get it into a truck. We need to back up a truck into a driveway. You need to carry out some kind of task out in the field. And especially in a team environment, you're either going to, you have to rise to the occasion somewhat, or you're not going to make it. You're not making money for the team. You're not making money for the company. And it's not any different in the trades as compared to school. Actually, it can be worse, because being a grown man, but being younger, especially than the people you work with, they can be pretty mean, and they can be very hard on you. So that was often the case. And people, if I'm not going to say, like, once I got out into the trades, I discarded all these habits of daydreaming and losing focus and not using common sense. Actually, I carried them right with me into it. And it was rough. It was rough for that reason. I maybe, I still have those tendencies sometimes, and I have my deficiencies still, but I do think it took a few years, but I'm able to think on the spot a lot more after, thousands and thousands of tasks and thousands of hours and projects and working with people, getting yelled at, getting called names, but staying committed to what I wanted to do. After some years, finally I started to see a turnaround. And I'll mention too, a lot of it was thanks to some of the people who believed in me, even ones who yelled at me and insulted me, the ones who would let you know that they're doing that because they see your potential and they want you to reach your potential, and they're just maybe frustrated that you're daydreaming or zoning out, and they see you can be better, that you can be a contribution. Those people meant a lot to me. I mean, I didn't like being insulted by them, but I can, as long as they provided that kind of like disclaimer to what they were saying, that it's because they see your potential, because they know that you have the potential to pay attention, to use common sense, that you're not just born without common sense. It's, in some ways, it was like a tool that needed to be honed or sharpened. That really helped me. So for people out there who, maybe you were the same way, and you just played it safe with liberal arts subjects and got by with memorizing the presidents or what happened in wars to get 100 or 95 in history, or you just memorize something in Shakespeare or Spanish, to just do well in those subjects, and you got by, and you just played it safe in sports and stood to the side and just let the other people do work, and you feel like that's just who you are. I don't know, maybe you are, but my experience tells me that maybe you aren't. So that's a good thing that I can take from this whole experience 10 years on. If you have any questions about this, just you can ask me or comment. I appreciate anything. I want to talk about maybe some more things that after 10 years that I appreciate about my decision, for those of you who are considering this. So that's it for now. I'll have another video soon.